Alright, in this video we're checking out the BeeBrain Pro and the BeeBrain Brushless from NewBeeDrone. So the BeeBrain Pro is their new brushed whoop. Comes with the 6mm gold motors that we've seen before and the ASI props. I believe this is the same cockroach frame and canopy as before. The board is obviously new here because this one does turtle mode, and I think only one of the few brushed whoops out there that will do turtle mode, so this one will do that. Integrated video transmitter and receiver, so this is the FreeSky version. It does also come in a Futaba version, and the camera is separate here. It's in the Goober canopy here, so a separate camera, but the video transmitter and receiver, flight controller, and the brush DACs are all integrated into the single board here. So this weighs about 20.5 grams. I think it's pretty similar in weight. The performance is fairly similar. They did upgrade the ECs so that they are more efficient. So on these gold or nitro gold batteries, 300 milliamp hours, getting about 4.5 minutes of flight. Acro Performance is, similar to other brushed motors in the 6mm category. You can do a few flips and rolls, but this is mainly for whip racing and gates. It's got pretty good handling. Obviously not as good as the brushless motors because they are still brushed motors, even though they can do turtle mode. But in the end, I think this is still an improvement over their Acro Bee. So if you're looking to stick with brushed motors, if that's what you're a fan of and you're used to flying brushed motors, you're looking to upgrade from the Acro Bee Lite, this is definitely the way to go. This is like basically their latest and greatest in the brush category in terms of flight time and performance in the brush category. So keep that in mind that it is brushed, not brushless, and brushless is obviously, in my opinion, I think it's still going to be better. We'll talk about the BeeBrain brushless here as something that I've actually had the prototype. I've been flying the prototype for a while, and then I was messing around and did some other experiments. I don't think you guys saw any of those experiments or videos. I never really made a video about the prototype because it wasn't really completed. They made a lot of changes from the feedback that the testers gave on the prototype, and this is quite a bit different actually. So the prototype had 20,000 kV motors, and the motors weren't such high quality. They weren't very good, drew a lot of amps, very inefficient, extremely low flight times, like under 2 minutes, like sometimes even like under a minute and a half. So what they opted to do is go to a 0802 18,000 kV motor instead of the 20,000 kV motor. So you're going to lose obviously some power, but you're going to gain efficiency, and that's what they've done here. And the motors here, I'm not sure if it's going to come out on camera so well, but you can see that they have a little PCB there at the bottom where the motor wires are soldered to. So in some situations where the wire might get cut off or pulled out, you can resolder them back on. But this plug, which is not a standard plug, it's a 1mm plug, I believe, not a 1.25mm, uses plastic coated wires, as you can see here. So that's kind of a bummer, but you could always replace this plug with silicone coated wires if you wanted to, if it did get damaged. But yeah, there's a PCB there at the bottom of these motors, so you can easily solder back the motor wire in case it gets ripped out. I think that happens a lot on these tiny motors. Something to keep in mind when you do get yours, make sure your screws are in tight. Mine wasn't, and I lost one right here. So make sure you check that once in a while, because they don't seem to be super tight, and there's, as far as I can tell, there's no Loctite on them. So if you really want to make sure you don't lose one, take them out, put a little drop of Loctite on each one of these, and then screw them back in, and that ought to secure the screws once the Loctite is dried up. I think the flight controller is the same as before, as far as I can tell. It looks the same. It is capable up to 2S, even though it ships here as a 1S, and this cockroach frame here, a 1S battery. Suppose you could put a second battery there, or modify this if you want to use a 2S battery, or use this board and something else on 2S. But the way it's coming out of the box, it's meant for 1S flights with the nitro gold batteries. As I said before, I think this is the same board. It's a 2S capable board, has a built-in video transmitter, 25 and 100 milliwatts power switchable, built-in BeeBrain OSD, but does not have a built-in receiver. You have to use a separate receiver here, and then obviously going with the NewBeeDrone, their V2 receiver here. It's got diversity antennas. This is the FreeSky version, and there is also a DSMX version as well. But yeah, it's flight controller, 4-in-1 EC. It is 1 to 2S capable. Same camera as on the BeeBrain Pro and Goober canopy. So obviously separate camera here and canopy with the video transmitter built in. And I believe these DSDs are upgraded up to 12 amps. So quite a bit different from a lot of other 1S whoops out there, like the Mobula 6 or the Meteor 65. And the other thing that people are going to complain about is the price. It is pretty expensive. It's $150. So you can essentially, for this price, you can get 2 Mobula 6, almost 2 Mobula 6s. And I guess, you know, I guess in terms of FPV, you kind of get what you pay for in some sense. I've heard that these are pretty reliable. They're more expensive from NewBeeDrone. Plus, you got pretty good customer service from NewBeeDrone. But then for the Mobula 6, because it's coming from China, being good, a lot of people are saying get 2 of them because you never know what kind of issues you might have, and then something burns out, you have spare parts. So it's kind of, you know, depends on which way you want to go. If you really don't want to spend any money, obviously going with a Mobula 6, you're going to save a lot of money, but you may need to buy some spare parts if you want to go that route. But with this one here, if you're just into whoop racing, not freestyle, this is going to be pretty good. Comes with a good tune. Very predictable on whoop track and hitting gates. Fairly efficient now. It's about 3 minutes of flight time. Still not as great as I was hoping for something like this, because it is a little on the heavier side. I think it's about 23 grams or so. So it's definitely heavier than the other ones that I've reviewed, the Mobula 6 and the Meteor 65. So this is coming in at 23.1 grams, and then the BeeBrain Pro is coming in at 20.3 grams. Anyway, so in terms of whip track performance, it's pretty good. I haven't done any of the modifications like Project Mockingbird or the for basically all the ESC firmware modifications you can do. This is totally stock that I've been flying it at. And if you're not looking to do any sort of that kind of stuff, you will find that it will fly totally fine out of the box with the stock configuration. You don't have to make any changes or do any flashing or anything like that. You can just go bind it, charge up a battery, and go and fly, and you'll have a pretty good experience with this one. Granted, it is on the pricey side. Anyways, here's a little more flight footage of these guys in action. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Alright, so see how this does. I don't think I'm going to be doing any kind of any acro with this thing, because this just doesn't have the motors. Should have better flight time than the prototype that I was flying previously. I don't know if you guys remember that video or not, but it should do simple flips and rolls. Yeah, rolls are no problem. Oh yeah, a lot of if you drop into its own prop wash like that, you get a lot of D-term oscillation. Stock tune here. I did not tune this at all. I typically never tune anything that's a bind and fly like this, so I always get that question in every video. Did you tune this? What's your PIDs? I haven't even looked at the PID, so don't know. Is there whatever came on here? Yeah. Can do a little bit of acro with it, but yeah. This is fine this is gonna be, you know, obviously for gates and stuff and racing. Just wanted to do a little bit of outdoor today. The wind finally calmed down. And let's see if I can get into the gaps here of this tree. Yeah, no problem. It's got actually pretty good control. And no problem hitting gaps. Don't hit the trash can.
a little bit of wind right now. It's kind of messing with me right now. As you know, these things are very sensitive to, wow, hit the seat of that picnic table, went right through. There's a little bit of wind's got to mess you up for sure. But definitely no issues with control. I don't think you guys will have any issues hitting gates with this thing. I'm getting a little battery warning already. Not quite 3 minutes, but I think I was only getting like 2 minutes before with the higher kV motor, so let me know what you guys think. Oh, didn't make it. I'm in the water.